Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about the old school traditional receiving line. Should you do it? Should you not do it? Pros and cons to it, so stay tuned. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to talk about back in the day, there was a thing called the receiving line. It was kind of a very traditional thing, especially if you grew up in a Catholic church. That's probably where you've seen it the most. I was married 32 years ago, so we did a receiving line as a Christian church. So we did a receiving line back then. And what it is it's a chance for each of the brides and grooms family. So the bride and groom kiss, they come walking down the aisle, wedding party comes walking out, the bride and groom stop at the end of the stairs, wedding party stops before them, and then everybody in the church all come walking out single file. So let me just address this first. There is nothing wrong with a receiving line. I think it's fun. I think it's a really good personal opportunity to say thank you to each and every person that came to your day for the ceremony and they're looking forward to the reception. And there's nothing wrong with that. So I encourage it if that's what opposite part of that is weddings are on a very tight schedule time crunch. So I always tell my bride and grooms that if that's what you want to do, no problem at all. If you start at 1 o'clock and then you go all the way till 2 o'clock and then you're done and you've got to be at your place by 3:30 for your reception, no problem. And I always tell them, not in a negative way, but my job is to make them aware of time frames. That's my job, is to say, hey, don't forget about this, don't forget about that. We got to watch this, we got to watch that. So with that being said, I want to make them sure and aware that I always do like a dry run itinerary. Hypothetically, let's say you are getting married at 1 o'clock and then you're going all the way till 2 o'clock. When that mass is done, you go out those front steps. No problem. For about 100 people, you have to add a minimum of 30 to 45 minutes to the time. Wow, that seems kind of a lot, don't you think? You would be surprised how many people feel like they have to have full-blown conversations about everything that's going on in their lives. And I don't want to be disrespectful when you say just shake your hand and go, because that's not what I mean. But people will tend to stop and talk to you like, oh my God, you look so beautiful. And that's awesome. You look so handsome, you look so beautiful, that dress is amazing, this is such a good time, we're so happy for you. Shake the hand, then they go on to the next person. So there's an awkwardness to that flower girl or that bridesmaids that's down at the beginning part. That's a college friend from California of the bride. This person absolutely has no idea who these people are, and they're standing in the line as the line's coming past the whole wedding party just to get to the bride and groom. Most of these people don't know aunt, uncle, Bob, godfather, godparent, anything like that. So they're all standing there and all they're going to do is say, hey, congratulations, you guys look great, that looked fun. But you have to add at least 30 to 45 minutes to the time, because it takes time for each one of those people to come through with their siblings, with their cousins, with their spouses, whoever it is, and they're all going to come walking by till they get to the bride and groom. They're going to shake their hand, introduce, hey, this is my spouse, this is now my wife, introduce, hey, Tommy, Susie, whatever your names are, and then they move on. Then the next person comes up. There's never a fast way to do it, and there really shouldn't be. It's not like an assembly line or a high school game where you're standing there high five and everybody's running by and high five, high five, high five. This is all, they literally stop, talk to you, give you a hug, give you a kiss. Oh my God, everything looks so amazing. Your dress is so beautiful. There's a time that comes along with that, and then they go off to the next person. So if you're going to do it, just add a minimum of 45 minutes. Now, 1 o'clock to 2 o'clock, 2 o'clock to 2:45 is your receiving line. Okay, 2:45 now. We still didn't even do any pictures inside of the church. That's a minimum of 30 minutes. And then it's 30 minutes to drive to the venue, and you're supposed to be there at 3:30. You're not getting there till 3:45. So it does absorb some time for the receiving line to do that. So I didn't just bring this up as a negative thing. It's something that I address in all of my weddings when it comes to that, because I need to make sure that, oh my God, that's only going to be 15 minutes. No, 45 minutes, 30 minutes if you're lucky. 45 minutes is the norm. Grab that quick fresh before you start doing your pictures inside of the church. So that's the most important part when it comes to that. So now you just got to figure out, okay, if you're going to do it, just account for the time. Just account for the time, and it is what it is, and that's the way it's going to be. No problem. Just make sure your window is big enough to drive or get your formal pictures done without cutting your photographer short. Because if anything, if you're running late, even 15 minutes from your ceremony, so just remember, everything gets pushed back if the ceremony doesn't start on time. You've got a limousine showing up, dropping you off. Life happens, life happens. The trade-off is not doing a receiving line. You save 45 minutes. And what I tell the brides and grooms is, hey, when you get your meal and everybody else is eating, when you get your meal, everybody else just starts eating. So you're going to go in there and say, okay, you're going to start eating your food. I always tell the brides and grooms, make sure you eat, stay hydrated. Once you start doing that food and stuff like that, halfway through, I always say, let's go around to each one of the tables now. So what you do now, instead of doing receiving line before, thanking each and every person, shaking their hands, kissing babies, and so on and so forth, do it during the reception while everybody's already eating. They're already sitting down. They're already there. You didn't do it at the receiving line to save you time for doing your pictures, because your window of pictures is only so big. So make sure that, so what we do is we say, okay, we're not going to do a receiving line. And then each one of the tables, you go up and say, personally, just say, thank you guys so much for coming to our wedding. We greatly appreciate it. We want to say personally thank you. So now, as a photographer, I'm standing off to the side and taking pictures of you interacting with your friends and family. Take a minute or two for each table, because now 10 tables times 2 minutes, that's 20 minutes. So 10 tables times 15 minutes per table, you're supposed to be dancing by now. So there's a little bit of a window inside of there too that you got to be aware of. So with that being said, go around to each one of the tables. You didn't do the receiving line. Go around each table, say thank you for coming by. If your grandmother's there, it's got a wheelchair, godmother, anything like that, have the groom take a knee right next to the grandmother, and brides right next to them. Click, 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 and then we go off to the next table and stuff like that. That is different than doing a table dash. That's another video that we're going to talk about another time. But this is just more of the old school traditional receiving line after the ceremony is done. No problem with doing it. Just add 45 minutes to your time, because you're going to need that much to get through all of those people and then get back starting your pictures and stuff like that. Especially if you have to travel to another place. If you don't have to travel and everything's done at the same venue, you should be safe by doing that. But just make sure you accommodate for the time, because that is very important when it comes to that. So that's my take on the receiving line. I love doing them, just to account for the time. So thank you guys for coming back to the channel. My name is Ron from Lemelin Photography from Massachusetts. I travel all over New England and destination. Thank you guys for coming back to the channel. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell for notifications, and see you in the next video. So keep on smiling, because it hurts less. Peace.